Welcome, welcome, Hala. How are you?
Hi, Annette. Happy to be here and see you again.
Oh my goodness, it's always so good being with you. I am really glad you're here and we get to hear the latest and greatest with you and your business.
I'm excited too.
It's great. It's great. We are joined today by Hala Taha. She joined us on the podcast episode 54 back in January. And your company has literally exploded since then. You've had so many major things happen in your life. So let's start off by giving us the quick update on things from your end.
Yeah, so YAP Media, it's been about a year since we launched. I have about 50 employees now. So half my team is based in the Philippines and India, all my creative team, my ops team, and half my team is based in the US, my social media team, my research and kind of production teams. And we've got so many great clients. So we work with people like Heather Monahan, Britt Marin of Brit & Co., Kara Golden of Hint Water, Jason Waller of Power Home Solar. So just lots of great clients who also double kind of as my mentors, which is like awesome.
Right.
And just really exciting. I mean, we're just launching into new areas like drop-in audio, clubhouse, green rooms, huge focus, starting to also become some sort of a podcast network. A lot of my clients have podcasts and we're essentially selling their ads for them and really becoming a network. And it's just really cool. I feel like YAP Media is really set to dominate this space. It's like we're already like making such big waves and I'm just really excited.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That is huge. That is huge. And now you're all in, right? Before you kind of had your foot in the door in the corporate world.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that all that happened. Yeah, it's so true. When I came on your podcast last, I was still working at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you guys working a corporate job and kind of scared to take the leap, I actually took it really slow. I started all of this as a side hustle. And I started the podcast as a side hustle 3 years ago. And then I started the marketing agency a year ago and was just managing this business and this pretty much an executive job at Disney and grew it to 35 employees before I quit. So I quit in February. And I'm so happy I did that because once I did that, it's like everything opened up. I landed an interview with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Just so many signs that I did the right thing, you know. And my downloads have been growing and growing. And I remember like, you know, my bosses at Disney, I had a few like different people that I reported to. They didn't want me to leave and they were like kind of telling me, asking me not to leave. And they would always say like, you know, if it doesn't work out, you could just come back, you know?
Right.
And I was always like, thank you, because like I'm scared, you know? And then
Right.
now I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going back to a normal job because everything is working out just fine. So it's just
Oh, I
awesome being
love
a
it.
boss. I love it.
Well, and you're so good at it. You're honestly a natural. You are so hardworking. You've been hardworking like your entire life. So let's talk about 3 wins. Going all in with the business is definitely one of a big wins. Matthew McConaughey, his podcast with you is just amazing.
Thank you.
Another big win. Any other big wins you want to share with the audience?
Just the fact that, you know, before this year, I wasn't really monetizing my podcast. You know, I was growing it and I was really focused on my audience and I was using it for lead generation for my marketing. But now my podcast itself, it's like Olay sponsored 22 episodes and Fiverr and Grammarly and Skillshare and LinkedIn and just all these new sponsors. So I guess that's what I'm excited about. Just really finally monetizing my actual show and figuring out the business model of actual podcasts rather than a podcast supporting a business. Because for a long time, I used to be like, you know, podcasts aren't the best business. Like, you're not going to become a millionaire having a podcast. It's really hard. And then now that I understand how to really monetize a podcast and all the ways you can do it, it's actually really lucrative. And it's actually something that you can, you know, kind of put a formula behind and make happen. And so I just love the fact that there's all these different business models that I'm learning and really, enjoying all that, the whole process.
That's right. It can be another revenue bucket for your business, right? Not just that lead generation. So let's talk about the industry of digital as a whole, right?
Okay.
Everyone jumped online and everybody was Zooming and now we're doing StreamYard and all this other stuff. So what kind of insight can you give that you're seeing as trends in your industry for business owners and some tips as to what they should be paying attention to and doing?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways we can take this. I think the first is that advertising on podcasts right now is huge.
Right.
A lot of people listen to podcasts. People who listen to podcasts are more engaged than they are watching a video. It's usually all that they're listening to. They feel really connected to the host because they know their voice, and that's a really powerful medium. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity for brands to advertise on podcasts, and trends are showing that, revenue being spent on advertising and podcasting, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's drastically increasing. And there's also a lot of research saying that like people don't mind commercials on podcasts and listeners are willing to listen to more commercials and that they actually take action once they listen to something on a podcast. So I think that for brands looking to, reach more people that might be part of their audience, you might want to look into podcast advertising. So I think that's one big trend. The other thing that's happening right now is that there's more international attention around podcasts. So for a long time, it was really US based, US listeners, US podcasters. Latin America is coming out as a standout, like next market that's going to pop off. And so more Latino Americans are listening to podcasts. They've done research that says that Spanish people who speak both Spanish and English, they're happy to listen to an English podcast, and they listen to English podcasts more frequently than Spanish ones, probably because there's more English podcasts out there. And so there's just lots of opportunity, especially if you're bilingual, if you want to put out a Spanish podcast or some sort of a bilingual podcast. So I think there's a lot of buzz and things going on in terms of Latin America and podcasting. And so I'm really focusing on how can I like get some of those listeners listening to my show and what are the things that I do. And then of course, drop in audio, social audio. So social audio, since Clubhouse has blown up and now everybody seems to be getting in the game. So you've got Spotify launching Green Room. You have Twitter launching Twitter Spaces. Facebook just launched live audio and podcasts. LinkedIn, apparently there's rumors that they're going to start some sort of drop in audio, social audio feature. So this is becoming more mainstream, and people obviously like this medium. But unfortunately, with all these apps kind of coming out with the same stuff, it means that it's very fragmented. And as a podcaster or somebody who wants to break into this space, it's really hard to know where you should spend your time. So in my opinion, I think it's Clubhouse and Green Room. I think those are the two standout apps. Clubhouse, came out about a year ago. It made a big splash. I think they have 13 or so million users. And then Green Room just released, and they have access to Spotify, which has 350 something million users. So because Spotify has access to so many users, I think it's a big threat to Clubhouse. And, I could go down the path of what's the difference or wherever you want to take it. But those are the big trends that I see right now.
Right. Well, and you've done such a great job showing up in Clubhouse, being that resource in Clubhouse, great topics, and really grown your followership here. So on that platform specifically. So what advice would you give to the non-tech savvy, who doesn't get to do this every day, that is operating their business every day, doing other areas? What would you say as the best place to start to dabble, and how much time to spend on a platform like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that Clubhouse is pretty easy to use. Like all you need is your cell phone. You don't need any other equipment. So it's actually a great way to see if audio, podcasting, or drop-in audio is something that you're interested in. So what I would do is on Clubhouse, I would try to search different clubs that you may be interested in. I would also try to see who in your network is already active on Clubhouse and see if they could invite you to some upcoming rooms, upcoming panels. I would not be shy and raise your hand. Essentially, raising your hand enables you to go on stage and speak. And so a lot of these rooms are Q&A. A lot of these rooms encourage interaction. And so just don't be shy. Like raise your hand, follow people, click around. And then once you find some people who you vibed with in a room, what I would do is message them on Instagram and instantly start some sort of a back channel. So on all these social audio apps, people are using something that they call a back channel. And essentially what it is, it's either a chat on Instagram that's like a group chat, or it's a WhatsApp chat or a Telegram chat. And that's how you kind of communicate, and you say, hey, does anybody want to do a room with me at this time? I'm hosting a room right now. Does anybody want to co-host with me? And it's a way to kind of network and really get close to the people that you host rooms with. Right. And that's what Clubhouse is all about. It's all about community. So also trying to figure out like who are the people in the community that are leading those communities that you want to get in touch with. So if you're a podcaster, you're going to want to figure out, how do I get in touch with Hala or Adam Posner or Rich Cardona or some of these other people who are hosting rooms all the time in the podcast space. And so that you can be included as long as you have value to share. So I think raising your hand, showing you have value, and then being proactive about pulling people into the community and starting your own little group, I think would be my number one tips.
So good. And you've done it so well, honestly. It's great. It's good. And I know you have fun doing it. You know, it just shows that you have so much fun, and you're curious, and you're always learning, and it's just great. And you need to do that as all these new technologies are coming out, right? And then the competitors come into the space.
Yeah, I love Clubhouse for that reason, because I feel like I learn things here and there. And a lot of the times I might be like the most knowledgeable about podcasting. But then again, like even people who are new kind of think outside the box sometimes. So it makes you think and think of other perspectives and things like that. So I love it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So tell me, before we get to the last question where we turn the tables and you get to, ask me kind of anything.
Okay.
What are some growth opportunities for you that you see in your business and in your industry?
Growth opportunities. So I think that working more. So in podcasting, there's lots of ways to monetize. So right now there's podcast reads, where basically you read commercials. And then there's also a way to monetize your old inventory, so your past episodes. And you can do that through dynamic ad insertion or like dynamic programming. And so that's a big growth opportunity for us. Right now, we're not monetizing any of our old catalog. And I have over 150 episodes that are people listen to every day, Yeah. And so basically we're going to clean up all those episodes, and we're going on an enterprise hosting platform that's going to help enable DAI or dynamic ad insertion. And for me, this is like a big, like my podcast is growing up phase, because this is what all the big podcasters do. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited to like get all of that started. And just trying to figure out Green Room. How do I grow a following on that now that got released and it's like the hot new thing? I definitely don't want to, some of these platforms, it's all about the timing. I don't want to wait too long and then lose all that organic reach. So almost feel like I have to shift priorities immediately to kind of capitalize on that organic growth and then maybe slow it down. So it's like I have to shift my priorities for that. And, the other thing is right now, my agency is very white glove. So we do all the copywriting, the ghostwriting, the publishing, the engagement. It's very handhold. And we typically deal with CEOs who kind of just show up, record their podcast, and we do everything else.
Right.
I'm trying to come up with a more self-service model so that more people can enjoy YAP Media services who may not be able to afford it right now. So like that's another huge thing that I'm working on. So those are some of the big initiatives.
That's good. That's so good. And it's like, there's so much that you are doing, right? When you're showing up on all these different platforms, and really you go all in, you give it all, and you give all of your resources, and you share so much free information and content, and you're so generous with everything that you share. Well, so how are you dividing your time? I guess you just are setting your priorities. You're really on that.
Really setting my priorities. Typically what I do is the night before, I'll write everything that I have to get done the next day. And that makes sure that when I'm done working, I work a lot. So I'll work until like 10 p.m., and I know that's not healthy or ideal, but I've got a lot going on, and like, I don't have a choice, I'm not done with everything until 10. And even when I'm never done with what I need to do. Right. And so I try to write down what I need to absolutely do the next day, the night before, so that it just closes all these open loops in my brain, and I can just relax and shut off and get some good rest.
Right.
And then I do like, I always make sure I try to do like my top 3 things that I need to do other than like the day to day. And I
Right.
try not to let email and Slack kind of run my day. Sometimes I
Mhm.
just won't even check email for the first 4 hours of the day because I know if I do, I'll just get distracted and not do the things that I was supposed to do. So those are some tips in terms of the time management. And the other thing is just getting good leaders and processes. And I think another huge initiative for me is just hiring.
Mhm.
I need to hire, and we're at like max capacity. More people want services. We need
Right.
trained people. We need more interns. Like there's just so I put up a post about social media managers yesterday because it's like we just need more people.
Right.
So just hiring and hiring good people and picking the right talent is also really key to all of this.
That's good. Are you seeing a lot of people out there in that space in your field? Or is
Like
it
in
like
terms
most
of
for social media managers and all of that, labor and talent has been a major struggle in most industries. How are you seeing
yeah, I agree. It's actually
it?
really hard to find skilled people, and I
Mhm.
prefer. So typically, what we do is we hire internally, and we have an internship program, and we usually put people through a boot camp, and then if you pass a boot camp, you get into the internship program, and it's 3 to 6 months, depending on how good or bad they are, or
Right,
how well they pick it up, and then we hire them after that.
right,
So
right.
I love having that training process, but we're growing so big now that I need to hire outside. And it's like, I just feel like there's a lot of people who say they do social media, but actually don't know how to grow a page or like they don't know how to write well or have attention grabbing copy. Like there's a lot of, poor talent in this space. And there's a lot of great talent too, but it's just hard to kind of hire. And we love to train people internally. So just help trying to balance that and make the right decisions.
Absolutely. We have a couple comments coming in. Rod Bourne, he's with one of the community colleges here in the Maryland area. He's saying to reach out to CCBC for some good interns.
Oh, cool.
And then Jen here is saying that you hit some major pain points. Hiring the right people is incredibly challenging, but if the content development is on the table, it's really, really so much harder with the content development. So thank you for those comments, everybody.
Yeah.
Good.
And if you guys are tuning in, I'd love to see like where you guys are listening from. Drop us, like show us in the chat that you guys are paying attention. Let us know where you're from. We'll shout you out. And if you have any questions, let us know.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So what questions do you have for me today, Hala? Anything from your end?
Yeah. So I want to know what's your biggest priority that you're working on right now, either for your podcast or for your timber company?
Oh, so good. I love that. I love that. Well, we have a huge celebration happening tomorrow with the podcast. It's our 100th episode,
Wow.
which
Yay.
is like such a big milestone. You know how much work goes into that. And I'm also interviewing tomorrow, not on the podcast, but for a future podcast, Kara Golden, who you know really, really well.
Nice.
So I am so thrilled to actually spend that time with her and actually celebrate the 100th episode. So, and you've been a huge inspiration through all of that. So thank you so, so much.
Of course.
Honestly, one of the biggest priorities on my plate as both companies stand is making sure all of our clients are taken care of. And I think that clients right now from the pallet side and the lumber side, they are having huge challenges educating them on what is happening in the market from the supply and demand standpoint and the pricing standpoint, and what third and fourth quarter are going to look like from a supply and demand standpoint has been taking up a ton of our time. We are white glove like you are, and we spend so much time with each of our clients on the phone, really walking them through what they need to look at, what they need to consider, what other vendors at hand they need to be really looking at and asking questions. And the same really goes with the coaching business. Business owners right now are exhausted and having a lot of challenges with hiring. So making sure that I'm just deeply working with them and helping them through whatever kind of head trash and stuck phase they are in to keep on moving forward. Because beyond this crazy right now of, being so much demand and low supply of our time and resources in general, there is so much good and opportunity on the horizon. Just look at you and your business. You had three great things just kind of come to mind, and that's probably just scratching the surface with your growth, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I've just, maybe it's a silly question, but like, why is timber, like, why did the prices skyrocket with timber so much? Like, what are the reasons for that?
It's not a resource thing. There is plenty of lumber out there. It's really the labor issues of, not a lot of people wanting to be a lumberjack. In our mills, we have a network of mills across the United States of 1,600 plus mills. They are very short staffed and they are at maximum capacity. So getting the labor, the skilled labor, and the labor to show up in these mills to get the production going is a really, really serious problem right now.
I have a question for you. Another one. How are you going to promote your 100th episode? What are you going to do?
Oh, I know, Hala. I probably should have definitely done more of a splash around it, but I'm really excited that I'm actually recapping all of our guests, and I'm going to be doing an episode where I'm sharing a little bit about each guest, me personally, and what I liked about that episode, in case someone hasn't listened to all of the episodes. They get a flavor for a little bit of everybody that has been with us along the past year. So if they want to tune into a specific episode, they can.
What I would do
is
I would email every single person who's come on your podcast, and I would send them the promotional material. I would ask them to write you a review in celebration of your 100th episode. I would ask them to post the video if they feel so kind to. If you make it in story size, they'll be more inclined to post it because it won't be on their feed. It will be on their story. You could give them whatever swipe up link if they have over 10,000 followers. And then you'll have 100 people review your podcast if they all say yes. And then do the same thing on social media. Like, use it as a way to drive reviews. All these big milestones are like the best way to drive reviews. So get like that ratemypodcast.com, set all of that up before, and just really try to push for reviews. That's whenever I have my birthday, whatever, that's like my number one ask, because it really moves the needle in terms of like social proof rankings, all that stuff. So reviews, I would do that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is gold right there. Like, so helpful. So helpful.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, anything else? We have lots of like, woohoo, Marilyn, let's go. Good comments on the side.
Hi, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm always down to come on here and share my insights with you, and just really happy for all of your success, and can't wait to see where you go. And yeah, I just thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And if you are on Clubhouse, make sure you check out Hala. And also make sure you follow her on LinkedIn. She has a wonderful presence on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
And she just is very kind and generous and so knowledgeable. And she's tenacious. And that is contagious. And it's great. And you are doing it. And I'm just so proud of you. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.